Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. Happy to slay to everyone. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I advise and empower women professionals, especially women veterans, to step up into their most authentic personal brand so they can gain lucrative opportunities. We focus in on appearance, behaviors and body language, communication skills, and your digital presence. I am a professional keynote speaker, a certified image consultant, a personal brand expert, and author of 3 books of myself for myself that I've written, self-published, and as well as 2 other books that I was part of their stories, if you will. And I am a United States Air Force veteran, 30 years. Huh? So, welcome here to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. If you are here this morning, please let me know that you're listening in, want to be part of the conversation. Let me know your name and where you're streaming in from so I can give you a shout out. All right. So, what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about personal branding. All right. Because I am your personal brand expert. And I definitely see a lot of changes, a lot of new opportunities since I became a personal brand expert. So, we're going to talk specifically about how you can go from invisible to unstoppable. Now, slay is a whole thing, y'all. Okay. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym. It stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that resonate with me the most. And now I'm passing it on to anyone that I come across. And it all stands for stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, and knowing you are built to last. So, good morning, Leslie. Welcome to the show, to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're doing well down there in Florida. I saw your post yesterday and I was like, thank God, protection, hedge of protection over you and your family. So thank you for being here live with me this morning and that you have the ability to do that because I know some folks are without power, without water. There's a lot of different scenarios that are happening. My sister is actually in Florida, y'all. So she survived as well and is making it through. And I'm so grateful for everyone that is doing well despite of. Okay. Now here on the Rise and Slay Morning Show, we also talk about, my workout routine because that is part of the slay too. All right. I slay all the things. So this morning, y'all, I was able to do a 45-minute spin bike and then I got on the treadmill, did a little bit of running and lifting weights. Okay. Because I feel good. That is what I do. Part of who I am and what I'm about is really about the health and wellness. And so I take that kind of seriously. All right. So I'm not your typical 52-year-old. And a lot of people say, oh, you're still doing burpees? I say, yeah, I'm still doing burpees, y'all. Okay. Because my body is saying you can still do it. So that's what I do. So today, y'all, we're going to specifically talk about going from invisible to unstoppable. And this is about building a personal brand that gets you noticed. Okay. So I know that some folks are frustrated, okay, because they're not being seen, they're not being heard, they're not being valued, they're being overlooked, maybe underestimated, undervalued, and not fully seen for their talents, their skills, or the potential. All right. It's as if you're showing up, you're working hard, you're doing all the right things, and yet somehow you still feel invisible. So I'm going to share with you all just a little bit about my journey. Like I said before, I served 30 years in the United States Air Force, huh? And for the first 15 years of my career, I felt like nobody saw me. Okay. I was doing all the right things that I thought. Well, for the first 10 years, y'all, I was I was all over the place. One, because I went into the military at the age of 18. It's the first time from being home. And I just was exploring, right? I was just there. And then I realized, hey, I could potentially make this into a career. I could stay in the military for 20 years and retire, right? And so I started to really think about how I was navigating in a system that really wasn't designed for me to succeed in the first place. But I decided, hey, I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to do something with it, right? So I remember again, the first 10, 15 years, I was just going over with the crowd. All right. I had a lot of ideas, thoughts, opinions. I had gotten some experiences. I went in as a medical technician, which is equivalent to an LPN in the civilian sector. I did that for 10 years. Then I went to school to become an independent duty medical technician. And the acronym for that is IDMT. And in that role, I started getting deployed to all these different countries as the only medical technician on teams, which meant that if anyone got sick or ill in the field, okay, where there are no hospitals, clinics, um, places where we had to be airlifted out of these particular places, um, I was the only medical technician. I was the one giving people drugs. I was the one starting IVs. I was the one making sure that, they could at least survive until the helicopter came in and airlifted them out. So I'm going to just tell you about one of the deployments. So I was in Vietnam for 3 months in the jungles of Vietnam. Me and 11 other people were out on the top of a mountain. Again, we were in a helicopter to get there, and we had to be airlifted out to go home. And home meant to the nearest location, which is Hue, Vietnam. So we left from Hue, Vietnam, flew on the top of a mountain, stayed out there for 3 months, digging, looking for missing persons from the Vietnam War. I was one again of 12, and anyone who got sick, whether they were Vietnamese or on the team, I was responsible for them. No one told me that I was responsible for the 80 Vietnamese workers that came on top of this mountain to help us dig. And then one day, one of the Vietnamese workers fell down the hill, a very steep hill, and he actually lacerated his ear and he had a concussion. We had to put him on a stretcher, walk him a mile on a stretcher back to our base location, and I had to sit with him and his wife, because his wife was also one of the Vietnamese workers, call in a helicopter to come get him the next morning. It was the scariest thing that I had done up to the point where I was in the military. And at that point, it was in 2003. It was a few months before me and my husband got married. There was no way that we can call. The way that we called out was with another person who was in the Marines, and he was a radio guy, and he had to go and put up cables in the trees, connect them so that he can get the actual connection so I can call. And I remember calling my now husband, crying and carrying on because I was out there in the middle of nowhere responsible for someone's life. Now, how does this all tie in to what we're talking about today? When I was out there, I felt invisible. I felt alone. I felt like, oh my gosh, no one but these 12 people and these Vietnamese workers really can see me in this moment. And when I went back to Japan, that was my base that I flew out from. I was trying to share this story with people. And sometimes, when people can't see you doing that action in the moment, it's hard for them to understand what truly went on. So I continued to do my work when I was there. I was put back into a clinic where I was only responsible then for two people. And then one day, we got a new superintendent, and she came to where I was at and she said, "You're no longer going to be working here. I want you to pack your stuff up. And on Monday, you're going to go to the family medicine clinic." Now, anyone who's familiar with clinics or hospitals, the family health primary care office is the biggest office area for any clinic. So I went from two people to 40 people overnight and had to supervise these 40 people. Now I am in the limelight. I'm not invisible anymore. People actually saw me every single day. And it most of the times it wasn't for good. Hey Latricia, how you doing? How you been? How you feeling? Thank you so much for being live with me this morning. And it's good to see you here, my queen. Um, so I was no longer invisible, y'all. I was front and center. I got pulled up almost every single day because not only was I responsible for myself, now I'm responsible for these 40 technicians. And, it came with a whole lot. And then I realized up until that point that I thought in my mind that I was invisible and people were watching me all the while. Even when I didn't think they were watching me. And they said, "It is time for you to be out and put yourself into this conditions, if you will, this environment, and we want to see what you do." And I didn't think of that at the time. I thought I was, the fixer upper, like go in here and fix this place up. And then I'm going to go back to where I was. No, I stayed there, y'all, for 2 years. And through that, went and I PCS to Nellis Air Force Base. Again, that's in Las Vegas. I was put in the back into a clinic, didn't have a lot of responsibilities until one day again, they said, we are looking at your records. We need you to be over here. And then the number went up higher. I went back to the family medicine residency clinic and it was over 80 technicians. So it was a slow progression. And so I went from being invisible to unstoppable because I started to see and learn and take in the experiences, take in how people were behaving, how I can help, support, encourage, inspire. And I took on a lot of things. So if you're working hard, okay, if you're showing up, and somehow still feel invisible, I want you to know that people are looking. All right. You have the power to go from invisible to unstoppable by building a personal brand. All right. That not only gets you noticed, but commands respect and opportunities you deserve. So I was building a personal brand while I was in the military and I had no idea. No idea. Okay. There were certain ways that I would take on that role. I started to hear, certain phrases that I used to use all the time, and then people would say those things back to me. Um, I was very much a stickler on dress and appearance. We used to have these open rank inspections. Everyone knew when they went in the clinic, that's what the expectation was. Some people wanted to work there, some people didn't, but I wanted to run a machine that was going to continue to be sustainable and that we were getting the results that we were looking for. So everybody had to be on the same page, had to get training. There was a lot of different elements to running a larger department. So over time during my military career, when I got to Ellsworth Air Force Base and I served as a command chief, I had been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. All right. And so I was able then to see there were certain things about me that were very different and unique, and I started to exploit them. All right. So one of the things was, again, my fitness. I could run and I could do that very well. Used to get anywhere from 95 to 100s on my physical fitness test. I kept myself very well in shape. A lot of the younger airmen did not want to run when I was running because they knew that I would hold my own. And then they knew how old I was, and then they didn't want to be embarrassed. So they would try all their might. But I had been conditioning my body and my mind for a very long time. And so I started to use that as my strength. I did not pull back from it or shrink from it. And I did not humble myself in that, if you will, because a lot of times we tell ourselves, oh, we're not doing, we're showing out too much, we're not really supposed to be doing that. And I just decided, no, I worked hard. Okay, I worked hard for everything that I received while I was in my career. And now fast forward. Okay. And I have launched Slay to Success. Slay to Success is a whole thing. All right. It's got a lot of arms and a lot of legs, but I decided that I wasn't going to hide anymore. And now I put myself out here. I'm here with you all Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am networking and I'm out in spaces and places that I've never been before. I decided that I was going to go from invisible to unstoppable in this next chapter. A lot of times, the women veterans, we don't feel like we are being understood. We feel like the people don't want to give us our flowers for our service. Our brother counterparts, they'll get the accolades and the achievements and all the applause, if you will. And sometimes, they look at us and they go, "Did you serve in the military?" I don't tell a lot of people. People don't really see me now as being a veteran because I have definitely transformed my appearance. But I understood, all right, that I have a lot of experience. I have understood that I have a lot of skills and expertise, and I am using them to my advantage as I am building Slay to Success. So the one of the things that I started to do more of is to share my story. The first thing that I did to share my story was here in this book, y'all. I wrote out all the things at the time that I felt like I needed to share for people to get to know me a little bit better about my military career experiences and the word slay in its entirety. Why slay is a thing, all right? Why do I use it as the foundation of everything that I do? I know, right? I see this love that we have for each other. So I absolutely love that. And I pray that you are well too, Latricia. So what we have to do is share our story because our stories are our strength. Um, we have unique experiences, we have unique challenges and unique triumphs that make us who we are today. But too often we minimize, we diminish, we don't share our stories, and we hide behind the fear of not fitting in or being judged. Okay, and here's the truth, y'all. Owning our stories, our most authentic stories, is the first step to truly being seen. Now, this may take some help, all right? This may take some healing because some of our stories, y'all, are traumatic. Some of the things that we've had to dealt with, we can't even speak to it sometimes. But when we see different parts of ourselves, all right, both the victories and the lessons, I want us to embrace them. And we're going to stand out in this world where too many people are simply trying to hide. Okay. Hey, Queen, how are you? First of all, Tiffany, I just want to say here publicly, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Okay. And you about to put on Master Sergeant, y'all. She about to put on Master Sergeant. All right. And she worked with me. We worked together when we were at Ellsworth Air Force Base. And I am absolutely excited. Congratulations for all that you have done and for your service in the United States Air Force. Okay. I'm well. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I feel good. I have so much exciting news to share with everybody as I continue on with our discussion today. So, we are about to go from invisible, if we feel invisible, to unstoppable. Okay. Because this requires a little bit of us to share our stories, right? To share what we have been made of. And so I just wanted you to know authenticity isn't just about being real. Okay, we got real talk going on here today, but it's just not about being real as we've heard many times. It's about being bold enough, all right, to let the world see the real you. All right. Not the phony, fake person taking on somebody else's demeanor, if you will. It is about you. And that's where that true connection and recognition really starts. And that's what I have seen time and time again. All right. I am no longer hiding. I went from a Facebook community where I was, yeah, helping women, gathering people in, and so forth and so on, and then I said, you know what? I love my women, but I know my women are going to help me carry out and be out in this world. I put myself out here, but y'all, this is a risk. Okay. Because you got crazy people out in this world today. All right. So it is a risk, but I know that this risk is for the greater good. It's to help more women and men, okay? Because I see now I have one of my clients is a man right now, to be seen, valued, and heard for what they have to offer to this world. So we got to be bold enough to let the world see the real you. Then we got to show up with confidence, okay? Because it matters. Confidence is magnetic, it's contagious. And yet, many of us have been conditioned to stay humble, to not take up too much space, and to downplay our brilliance, right? People will tell you you're doing too much. You're talking too much. You're making me look bad. Every time you talk, we always see that, oh, we can't live up to it. And it's the way that you share. All right. But what I did do very well while I was in the military, and now I still, carry on in this entrepreneurial world, if you will, is I make sure that my confidence level is high by doing things that I know that will get me out of my comfort zone. And that is why I exercise as hard as I do, because when I'm breathing, huffing and puffing very hard, and I'm telling myself, I don't know if I can do it. And then when I do it, something switches. So when I'm out in these streets, it translates. All right. So confidence, right? It's about building a personal brand, and it requires something more. So it requires you to show up boldly, and it requires you to show up unapologetically. Oh, thank you, Tiffany. All right. You got this, Queen. And I know it's going to look crazy. It's going to be hard at times, but you always got me in your corner. You call me anytime. All right? And let me know, how I can support you, and you know that. So I am unapologetically me. Someone asked me the other day, is you wear pink every day? And I was like, for the most part, I think about 97% of the time I wear pink. Now, when I'm in my house, I probably have on sweats and some random t-shirt or whatever. But when I'm out and about, yeah, I do. And I don't push back from it, right? Because it's my color. It's a message that is conveyed to me to be a little bit softer, to give yourself more grace, to be a little bit more kinder to yourself. All right. And it's okay. Yes, I have masculine energy. I carry it. Sometimes, I go into it rather quickly, but I have to remind myself that I am a woman and a full-fledged woman. All right. And I don't have to do that. I don't have to go toe to toe all the time. So, yes, I'm rooted in who I am and what I bring to the table. And confidence doesn't mean that I'm arrogant. It just means I know how to carry myself. I know how to speak and interact where I can leave a lasting impression on those that I meet. And when I consistently show up with confidence, I send a message. Okay. And you are someone who knows their worth and is ready to lead. You are valued. Okay. And just never forget that. So, the last point that I want you to know is it is up to us, all right, to build our own personal brand. And how we want to do it is our business. Okay. I help women and men to build their personal brand either through workshops in person or virtual. I have one coming up on October 23rd, specifically for women veterans. All right. Because sometimes we get stuck and we're not quite sure of how to get noticed for whatever opportunities that we desired. I also do one on one consultations on virtual or in person. And I do a lot of speaking, okay? Keynote speaking, panel speaking about my journey, not only in the military, but now my journey as an entrepreneur. And when you build your personal brand, you are building influence. And it has to be positive influence, not negative, not something that people are not going to connect with. But you got to watch your visibility, okay? And figure out where you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be positioning yourself. And your confidence will start to naturally grow when people start wrapping their arms around what you're creating. You're going to start walking into the rooms knowing you are something valuable to offer and you have something valuable to offer. And as people begin to recognize your value, people begin to recognize your influence, it will start to expand. Okay. So you'll become someone who not only inspires others, but also sets trends and making impactful decisions and leading with authority. So, y'all, it is time, okay, to stop hiding. We need to go from invisible, if you feel invisible, to unstoppable. And what I shared with you this morning is about one, owning your authentic story and don't be afraid to share. All right, the good, bads, and the uglies, whether it's through speaking, through writing, um, everyone has stories. All right. You got to show up with confidence and whatever you need to build your confidence. If you have a low confidence level, maybe a situation is happening, maybe people around you are saying you can't do it and they don't know what you're doing and how you're doing it. We need to find a way to build our confidence level to where we can step boldly and unapologetically into the rooms that we are supposed to be into, right? And all this is going to enhance our opportunities. It's going to enhance our recognition, okay? Opportunities will start coming to you. And what I know, right? All this time, y'all, for what, 2 years? And for the last year, I have been very consistent. I have been showing up for myself, showing up for my clients, showing up for, opportunities. And yet another opportunity came yesterday. Slate to Success is partnering with two other businesses. Okay. This is huge for me. I have never had this opportunity come and be presented to me. And this is not to be taken lightly. I am partnering with two other women owned businesses, and we are going to provide training, development to big corporations. We're going into a big meeting next month. And what I still know and understand about me is that I'm ready. I have worked my tail off, y'all. People don't really understand the behind the scenes of an entrepreneur. I am the founder and the CEO of Slate to Success. And what that means is that I created something so I could solve problems. And someone saw me and had been watching me from afar and decided to reach out and say, I need you to be part of this particular contract because you have what we need. I'm going to be helping other women veterans, y'all. So when you think nobody is watching, when you think that no one's really believing in what you're doing, I want you to keep going. I don't want you to stop. I want you to stay consistent. I want you to be very confident in what you're talking about. And I want you to do the dang thing. Okay. Thank you, Latricia. And thank you, Leslie. I'm just saying, y'all, this is huge for me. And, there's a lot of things that are going to change with Slate to Success. And 2025 is going to look much different than it did in 2024. But that's what this journey is all about. Thank you, Tiffany. Because I have been working. All right. And what I did, though, is decided, thank you, Todd. I appreciate you. And thank you, Tiffany. I decided to bet on me and bet in the things that I believe in. And I know this is just the beginning. So I am extremely proud of me. I am beyond excited. I can't wait to see what this becomes. And all I'm trying to tell y'all is I want you to continue to do what you've been called to do. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dream. If you got a dream, I want you to live that thing out loud and allow the universe, and for me, it's God, to help you through. Okay? Thank you, Queen. Thank you. And I'm excited for your success as well. When you surround yourself and you have people in your corner that are doing the same things that you're doing, but in some different ways, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So, y'all, go from invincible to unstoppable. Build your personal brand that gets you noticed. And when the opportunities come, I want you to step right on into them, own it. All right. And I want you to keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. So thank y'all for being here. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Latricia. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Aronica. I love y'all. Keep on slaying, and I will see you all on the next. Bye-bye. You're welcome. Love you too, Therese. Glad that you're here too. Thank you so much for being here with me live.